Hello, this is Rick Williams. Just thought I would take a little bit of time out here just to quickly have a look at how we sort of prepare the initial ratings. Basically, what we have here is we have a sheet which takes in all of the different tracks and whatnot. At the moment, I've got Flemington loaded, but if we have a look at another meeting that's going around on Saturday, so it could be Doomben. So I just simply go to my sheet and we'll find Doomben from the drop-down list. Click on that, and then it will populate, and can just get rid of the blanks like so, and then we have Doomben populated. So it's just a base. It's really not anything you'd go mad betting off, but obviously you need to start somewhere, and you know there's also, I think there's a left field place. Let's try Cairns. Not sure if Cairns is loaded yet. In fact, I doubt it. But anyway, all the tracks are there. So as long as the so I've got Belmont, Carnarvon. So as long as the track and all the data is in the raw tab, it will populate. So Carnarvon's probably one we can just do because we've discussed it quickly. If I just drill down, where are you? There he is. So just click on that. And there goes Carnarvon. Get rid of the blanks. And you know, there you go with your base. So that's how the sheet is put together. Obviously, if we take a look over here on the right, you know, we've got class, speed, jockey, trainer. We've got some different contributing factors. We've got, if we go over there, all of the ratings that I give the horse comes out with a ranking. So there's a price rank, a differential rank, a class rank, speed, jockey, trainer. I then score the horses using a different method and produce a KPI rating, a KPI ranking, and whatnot. So that's all then logged into a database, and as time goes on, I'm able to go back and look at all these sheets historically and filter using different combinations of ratings, figures, rankings, KPIs, all those different things, which is very helpful as you can help to educate yourself as time goes on your figures and what happens. So just quickly go through horse by horse here, commanding time. So what we're looking for here is we're looking for a class figure, and we're looking for a speed figure. So if I just sort of have a look at his runs this campaign, I'll obviously fine tune this a bit later, but just for the purpose of this video, we won't take too long on each horse. But look, you know, we've got some runs here. You know, he's got an 88, an 86, an 83, an 86. So 4 of his last 3 runs, 88, 86, 83, 86, you know, whatever you want to sort of use. I guess we're looking at, you know, a 1 to 2 length range. I try not to discriminate and be too picky, so I'm happy to give him an 88. And if we look at his speed, he's got a 120, which has got a note to be knocked back 2 lengths. He's got a 108. He's got a 101. He's got a couple of lower ratings due to no pace early. So if we look at his previous campaign, that, you know, he's gone 111, 112, 111. So if we sort of knock the 120 back, it's actually 119, knock it back 2 lengths, which is about 113. You know, 111, 112s all the way throughout the sheet. So I'm going to give him 112. So there we are. We've given him an 88 class and a 112 speed. We go on to the next horse. And we've got Falago. He's got a 88, 83, 84. So he's a horse that is a weir runner, and he looks to, in typical weir fashion, had a bit of a break after about 8 runs and comes out and improves. So I'm happy to give this horse an 88. And he again comes through that race. We've knocked back by 2 lengths. He ran the 122.5. So if we give this horse a 116.5, that at this stage fits in okay with what we're looking at. On to the next horse. And the next horse is Prizem. And traditionally this horse is quite difficult to rate. Hasn't won for a very long time, but he's quite a consistent horse. If I look at his figures, his class figures this campaign, 83.4, 80, 84.7. So 2 of his last 3 runs have been around the 84 mark. He's got a couple around the 80 as well. So let's give him an 84. And if we look at his speed, look, last start was quite low due to a very soft early tempo, but he had strong late closing. Before that, it was a fast tempo, over 2500s. It's a bit hard to get a guide. Probably the best guide, you know, he's got a Flemington 1800 run this campaign. He ran the 107. And if I look back last campaign, you know, he's got at Flemington 105. Flemington, he's got 106. So he's got 105 at Flemington, 106 at Flemington, and 107 at Flemington, all around 1700 to 2000. So I think at this stage, if we gave him 107 to get started, that's about right for him. On to Refulgent. What a horse this is. He, if we're looking at his figures, class, so he's got 85, 84, sort of around the mark he's at. He's got a couple of 70s in there, but I certainly think that 85 looks to be a fair starting point for that horse. And if we have a look at his speed, he's got 112, 105, 106, 111, 118. That's this campaign. So 112, 118, 111. Sometimes you have to make a judgment call. But look, we, you know, can sort of get these horses up and going and whatnot. So let's take the average of his 2 best runs and put 115 in there. So 112 plus 118 is 230, and we half that. That's 115. So that sort of gets us around the mark with him at this stage. On to Ginger Boy. He comes through the same race as Falago, and he was only third up with a few trials. So this is a horse that we're just sort of having a look at him. You'd really expect that he's had another trial in between. He's going to leapfrog again. So, you know, what we're doing now is we're, he's sort of got an 80 last start. We're looking back to see what's his best. His best I've got in here at the moment is around an 86. So I think it's very possible that this horse can improve a couple of lengths to his previous peak on class. So let's give him an 86. And last start he ran to 117, and we've knocked that back by 2 lengths, which makes it 111. But again, we're looking at his best runs, and if I go back, I can find 115 here, which is again is almost 2 lengths. So we'll give him 115. So that gets him right in. As you can see, it's at this stage quite an even race. There's not a lot between them on class or speed. So on to Light Enough. And this horse is a horse that can pull a good run out, but he doesn't really seem to be firing too well this campaign. If we look at his class figures, going from his most recent, he's got a 66, a 79, he's got an 80 in there, a 49. So I think 80, 79. I think we'll give this horse a 79. I think that's fair. 79. And if we take a look at his speed this campaign, he's got 102, 75, 84, 104 and a 94. Last campaign, the best he sort of went was 102, and that was at Flemington over 2,000 metres. And he's got 102 there. That again, that's knocked back 6. So, look, I think that I'd be struggling to give this horse a speed rating of over 100. And the jockey, Luke Curry, I'll just refer to my other sheet. He's currently a 92. So that's Light Enough. On to Mutual Trust. And if I look at this horse, this campaign, he won last start on the heavy in astoundingly slow time. It was such a heavy track. It's amazing. If we go back to Ballarat, he's sort of rating in the 60s. Flemington over 1,700 was a good run. Look, he's had a lot of talent early on, this horse, but he really has failed to come on. I think I'd sort of his last run and his last run at Flemington sort of coincide a little bit. If I go back to his Flemington run on the 23rd of May, he ran to around 80, and that's probably not a bad mark to give him. On the wrong screen, so we'll give him an 80 in there. If we look at this horse's speed, he really has failed to put together a decent speed rating for a couple of years. So 2013, this horse was rating, around 107. He did have a 120 in there. Since then, he's failed to rate over 100. So he's got pretty close to that this campaign. So I think we can give him 100. On to the next one, Black Tomahawk. And this horse comes through the Bagman race. Bagman obviously won last week. If we look at this horse's figures, he had a bit of a peak last start. He rated a lot higher than he sort of ever had. If we sort of look at the race, Bagman's come out and backed up his figure. Crafty Cruiser came out of that race. He's won and he's gone better than that figure. Freshwater Storm came out of that race. He dropped off. We got light enough diamonds at noon. Cuban Fighter came out of that race also. He dropped off around a couple of lengths. So when these horses produce a big peak, it's important that you track through the horses that have ran since and sort of get an idea for how they've gone. Were they all overrated on that day, or have they sort of come out and ran to a similar level? And this horse has ran to a similar level. If I sort of go back through his form, he's sort of got a 75, 77. So I don't know how comfortable I am at this stage giving him that full figure. I sort of might meet that peak in between the middle with his other peak and sort of knock it back a couple of lengths. Just for now, we can always go back and put the other one in there, but just to sort of get a base. And if I'm looking at this horse's speed, he's got 110 at Cranbourne over 2,000 on the wet. He's got 102 on the wet. Yeah, he's quite a hard horse to line up on the speed figures at this stage, just due to the nature of the tempo of his races and the condition of the tracks. So I think at this stage we'll give him 105. That sort of fits in with about where he is. To the next race, Hot Power. We know a fair bit about this horse. He hasn't won for a while, but he can go all right on his day. He's certainly a horse that can go quite well. Look, he's getting out to 2,000 metres. Again, he comes through the same race that a lot of these did, and be pretty comfortable to just give him pretty much the figure he ran to last start. And he's got that 116 on speed that we've knocked back a couple of lengths, makes him 110. We've got Cisco de Largo, and last start was a shocker. Prior to that, the horse has got figures around the 72 mark, multiple speed ratings of around the 100, 103. So give this horse a 72 on class and 103. Go on to the next, and we've got Heavy. And yeah, this horse is just an early season 4-year-old who probably hasn't had a great deal go his way the last couple of runs, but if we sort of have a look at his speed, because it's pretty easy to get his speed here. He's got a 112, a 113, and a 115. A 115 was last start, so I'd be pretty happy to go with 115 here. And if we assess the class of this runner, you know, he's sort of rating around the mid 70s on his class, and I think that you could probably at this stage give him that. So I think that the best figure I've got in here at the moment for this horse, class-wise, is 76. So I'll put a 76 in there. And he's got a good little weight drop too. So he looks a horse that I think could probably run quite well. So if we just sort of do a quick run through now, just on our raw figures, we've got Commanding Time rated $8. It's 12. We've got Falago rated 430. It's 4. We've got Prism rated 18. It's 10. Refulgent and Ginger Boy are around 6. Ginger Boy looks good value. Refulgent's 440 and Ginger Boy's 10. So value, big value. Light Enough has come out 67. It's 61. Mutual Trust has come out 60. It's about 60. Black Tomahawk's 26. For us, it's about $8 on the market. Hot Power, we've got 14. It's come out on the bookies around 10. I've got Cisco Delago at around 67, and it's about that. And then we've got Heavy at $9. So the next stage is you can obviously start looking at the speed to get an indication of some up and comers or whatnot. You may like to adjust your figures for weight carried or whatnot. I generally don't do that a great deal, but in some instances I do. The first thing we want to look at here is we've got an early season 4-year-old Heavy. His speed is 115, which is, would suggest that he's up with the others, and obviously his class is a little bit low. That's his exposed class. So if we're looking at the speed and we're confident that this horse has got the consistency and the ability to come out and run to that figure again, then we also need to understand that the horse has got significantly less weight than the other horses that are of equal ability on speed. So we've got Ginger Boy 57.5. So there's a 3.5 kilo swing, which is 10 points. So 10 would make it 86. Ginger Boy's an 86. Sorry, 7.5 points, which would make it an 83.5. 10 points here would make it 86. It's an 85. And there's 12 points there before the claim, which would make it an 88. So it really does appear that the way this market's shaped up, that it would make a lot of sense to boost the class figure of Heavy, because the speed suggests that he is of equal ability to these other horses. He hasn't had the chance, I guess, to be fully exposed. He's a horse on the up, and I think it's within within good reason that we edit this horse's class figure and give him a figure of 86. So we can put that in there like that, and then that starts to change our market, and he comes out 88, sorry. No, 86. So all of a sudden he sort of comes in now to around the $6 mark. You may not like Commanding Time because he's got 61, but the reality is the horse is, pretty strong on the class and decent on the speed. But I'd sort of look at this race with that adjustment, and I'd be pretty happy that it's in pretty good order to start some extra analysis. It gets us around the around the mark. The next thing you could also look at, when you're really drilling into your form, is your maps. You might think that a horse like Ginger Boy has drawn out a little bit wide, and it might be a little bit of a negative, so it's a negative. So obviously we put the negative in there, and it starts subtracting, or you may really hate his map and it could be a double negative, and again he blows out further. You could think to yourself that you know, for a horse like Heavy to have Damien Oliver and Barrier 3 is is pretty good for the map here, and you know, you give him a tick. You know, so you obviously got to work through all the runners. You may think that Prison will get too far back from barrier 11, and you know, the way he sort of looks there, he doesn't look good enough to run past him, which is a negative for him. This is all just really quick. You may think that Light Enough will have to work a little bit too hard to try and get across. Isn't going that well, and may not have the stamina to sort of run it out. So, you know, the way the race is going to pan out could be a negative for him. You know, so as you can see, your market continues to evolve and take shape. And then you've got Falago, who appears that he's going to map really well and just work over. So he may be a positive also. So then all of a sudden, you know, you've got Commanding Time at $9, he's 12. You've got Falago at 360, he's 380. 370, he's 380. You've got Prism at 26, he's 10. You've got Refulgent at 7, he's 440. You've got Ginger Boy at 12, he's 12. So, you know, once you work your map in and whatnot, he sort of goes from big value to around the mark. Light Enough blows out to over $100. Mutual Trust around the same. Black Tomahawk, there's a bit of a difference there. So when you see a difference, we've got him 30 and the market's got him 8. You want to go and have a look at that. It doesn't mean you'll adjust it, but sometimes you may have overlooked something. Hot Power, we've got 16, he's 10. Cisco de Largo, we'll call it 81, and he's around that mark. And Heavy comes into 450, and he is around 450. So yeah, that's just a little bit of insight into how we prepare the ratings. As you can see, it's heavily generated by mathematics behind the way I've balanced out the figures, and you know, there's really not a lot of human intervention once the prices are set. Really, my job's to make sure I'm on the ball and selecting the right figures. And if I can tune the figures up and get them right, then obviously it'll be reflective in the price. And definitely the more often the figures are right, the higher rated horses win, and hopefully their value. So you know, I hope that gives you a little bit of insight into how we go about pricing the races and doing some analysis. And I wish you all the best. So thank you.